What just isn't worth the risk nowadays anymore and why? Road rage. Just not worth responding to anything while driving. Ignore them and stay away. Make no gestures and just ignore them. Escalating any arguments with strangers or even escalating anything while driving. Working yourself to death. Work on separating your work life and normal life. When I leave work, I don't check emails, text call about work, nothing. Variable rate mortgages. Cocaine. Streaking. Nowadays anything like that will get you put on a public registry forever. Fist fights. Healthcare is expensive. A lot of people are armed anymore. Also, the legal repercussions are harsh these days. It is best to check your ego and pride and walk away. Answering the door when someone unexpected rings the doorbell. It's always a salesman. I don't need solar, pest control, meat, a hard water treatment system, satellite TV, or any other damn thing they're selling, and I have no interest in dealing with them not taking no for an answer. Get off my lawn. Any hard drugs. I've done almost all of them and had a bunch of fun, but I wouldn't touch anything today. Fentanyl is turning up in everything and it's just too dangerous now. Unprotected sex. Kids are fucking expensive. Back in 2010 when it was mostly eBay at its height, I used to sell a ton of electronics to buy the newest model iPhone, game consoles, laptops. Did a few sales on Facebook around 2013. Nowadays there's way too many sites, scams, shitty buyers trying to talk you down on price. I don't ever feel like it's worth the hassle. Taking drugs. Fenty in everything. Climbing Mount Everest. Too many people have done it and planted a crappy flag up there that it looks like a beach coast covered in trash. I'm sitting here thinking that maybe all the suggestions about holding back your aggression in real-life situations is what accounts for how wretched everyone is to each other online. Drinking and driving. Never was, but especially not anymore. Get an Uber, people. Odessa used to be a really fun cheap weekend destination. Not so much now. Salvaging furniture from the curb. Thank you, bedbugs. Fighting, you win go jail, you lose go hospital. Serious crimes, WDNA, smartphones CCTVs around, you're bound to get caught someday. Answering the phone. My friends text and we talk in person. The only people who ring are scams and telemarketing. All of my bills are online and have my email address. Where I live, more and more fentanyl gets found in the cocaine. When I was young you just had to worry about it being cut with bentocaine. Having social media. Yeah, Reddit, but there's a level of anonymity here unlike Instagram at all. Having an opinion. Ask yourself, how many times have you jumped into a conversation on Reddit and just deleted what you wrote because it isn't worth getting into it with people? Downhill mountain biking. I've had 4 friends need surgeries in the last 2 summers. I'm selling my bike next spring. Glory hole BJ's. Fast food. It isn't fast anymore. Last time I went to Taco Bell I didn't even get my food before I had to go back to work because I only get 30 minutes for lunch. Talking about the situation in Israel and Gaza. Answering a call not in your contacts. That old school mentality of intervening in public conflicts, i.e. jumping in the middle of a guy raging at his girl out in public. You don't know who's packing a weapon anymore. And if I get myself hurt and land in the hospital, or end up in jail, that means I'm not working, which means I'm not bringing in any income, which means bills don't get paid, which ultimately puts me in a worse situation. Experimenting with drugs. Expressing anger on the road. People have gotten unpredictable. A finger could get you killed. Mischief. When I was a kid, getting in trouble meant a scolding. Now they send you right to the cops for anything. Going after stability when the whole system has been built to make everyone disposable. Mischievous mischief that ventures into barely criminal territory. Like playing tag in your neighborhood at night, running through people's yards or on their rooftops. Used to do this all the time as a kid. When cops would catch you, they'd give you a tongue lashing, maybe drop you off at home and tell your parents. Now you'd get the cuffs and your parents would have to post bail. Not to mention that American culture is so degraded, there are now countless homeowners who think murdering children for stepping on your property is legally and morally justified. Stating an opinion, especially on social media, you're bound to piss off someone and get doxxed. Twitter, TikTok are the worst ones. Don't know about Facebook anymore because I deleted that years ago. Getting into crowds. You know, parades, carnivals, especially protests. You never know what's going to happen during these times. Stay safe, y'all. Talking politics. It just isn't worth it anymore. I cast my vote and wait for the next election. Other than that, I don't need to discuss anything with anyone. Doing heroin. Most of it isn't even heroin anymore. Working more than 40 hours, trust me, never sacrifice your life and energy with unquestioned servitude to. Insert greedy billionaire sales labor union company here. Giving your whole heart to someone you aren't sure wants it. Expecting any other human being to actually have intelligence or integrity anymore. Okay, so as someone who lives in a country with, let's just say, an austere reactionary government, it's better not to engage in any political argument online. This comment proves counterintuitive in that light, but fuck it, we ball. Biking in NYC. Street drugs. It has fentanyl or some synthetic opioid in it that is much stronger than fentanyl. Dating. While I could make this a whole rant and get all the "you're just dating the wrong type of people" comments, let's just make it easy. There are enough people that are selfish, entitled, and deluded enough to where it isn't worth the trouble. Drunk driving. I'm 65, and when I was young the times I drove absolutely polluted scares me to think about it now. Buddy of mine had a '69 Camaro, and we were so drunk he had to work the gas, clutch, and steer while I shifted the 4SPD. It was comical then, not so much now. Casual sex. Pregnancy. Hacking. But hacking like they did it in the 70s, 80s. They'll bury you under the jail even if your intent is just simple curiosity. Too much money at stake these days. The laws are beyond draconian. Pretty much anything since cameras are everywhere. Going 60 or more on country roads. Used cars are so expensive now. Moving to a bigger city, rent will eat you alive. Consumerism. Save your money and think about your future. Sex, due to diseases. Getting married. Divorced once, never again. Going in a homemade billionaire submarine. Driving home after an evening of drinking. Marriage. Protesting. You can get punched by counter-protesters, tear-gassed, arrested by police, dragged into a van by anonymous men in camo, doxxed, shot, or run down by a car. Putting a political sign on your front lawn urging a vote for a candidate or an issue. Nowadays that triggers violence, shunning by your neighbors or vandalism to your property. When we were little no one had Ring cameras. You could ding-dong dash every house in the neighborhood. Some multiple times the same night. Not so much anymore. Dating. ITT, nothing is worth it. Stay inside. Live in fear. Reminds me of that Lonely Island song YOLO. Seriously though, don't buy street drugs, that one is legit. Chanel, most luxury items, multiple price increases each year over multiple years. Marriage. Everyone leaves. Picking up the phone for unknown callers. It's all telemarketers and scammers. Coke. Because of fentanyl. Double cheeseburger. I just don't need the second patty anymore, and the meat to bread ratio isn't correct either. Driving a motorcycle. Coke, I'll stick with weed and psychedelics because my caffeine addiction tells me I'd be a coke addict. Running from the cops. State lotteries. It's a tax for poor